In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a device that you can tattoo with without a motor. The method that you will be using to tattoo after you create this device is often referred to as pick and poke. Preferably, I like to refer to it as plucking, but they're pretty much the same damn thing. The device that you will be creating so that you can do your very own pick and poke / pluck tattoo work is going to consist of little more than this. A pencil. What you will need: a pencil, a staple, some thread, some tape. Electrical tape works best, so if you have that, that's preferable, but if you don't, any sort of tape will work. And also some sort of sandpaper. This is an emery board. This is something females use to file their nails down. This thing works wonders. If you do have to use regular sandpaper, however, I would suggest that you use the finest grit sandpaper that you can. Any sort of really gritty, tough sandpaper is not going to work well for what we're going to be using our sanding device for. Skipper, what are you doing? Look at my couch. What have you done to my couch, Skipper? Sorry about that. Let's get back to creating our tattooing device. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our, I don't know if you can see that very well, but there is actually a staple in my hand. This staple that I have, I got from a stapler. Now you can actually remove a staple from a magazine or wherever you can remove a staple from, but keep in mind that staples that come out of a stapler for the most part are made of a very soft metal. Now that is important when it comes to sharpening these staples to make our tattooing needle, because the softer the metal, the easier it is to sharpen. But this doesn't mean that you can't just use any old staple, because you can. It'll just be a little harder to sharpen if it's a harder metal. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our staple, and the first thing we're going to do is we are going to straighten our staple. Again, if you get a staple out of a stapler, this will be a lot easier than using a staple that's already been used, because it'll be hooked in and you'll really have to be working hard to straighten this out. We got our staple straightened. We're going to take the other end of our staple, we're going to straighten that out just as much. It doesn't have to be completely straightened because that end doesn't matter at all. Once we've got our staple straightened, we are going to then take our staple. Actually, this staple is not very straight. Okay, once we've got our staple straightened, on one end at least, we're going to just hold that staple right there to our pencil, to the top of our pencil. Now this is something else you need to keep in mind. When you're attaching your staple to your pencil, you do not want a whole lot of staple sticking up above the pencil. You're probably going to want about 1/3 of the staple sticking up above the top of the pencil. Once you've got about 1/3 of the staple above the pencil that you're just holding with your fingers, like so, we're going to take our thread and we're going to start to secure our staple to our pencil. Just grab some thread, still holding on to your pencil and your staple, and just start to wrap that thread around the pencil and the staple, making sure that you're keeping the staple, straight up as you're doing it. And once you've begun to wrap the thread, you can actually use the pencil and just spin it around in your hand like so, and the thread will wrap itself around the pencil. Now there's nothing real fancy that we're doing here. The only thing that you really need to keep in mind is that we're not going all the way up the staple. We're only going as far as to the top of the pencil. Okay, so look, boom, take the thread, pop the thread once you've got a good amount of thread on the pencil, and just, secure it by just twisting it around your fingers. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna put that down for a minute, and we're gonna pick up our tape. We're gonna take a little piece of tape, it doesn't have to be much tape at all, and we're gonna take some scissors, some sort of device to cut it, and we are going to cut. The f is up with these scissors? Cut. Good God, what are these, like some prison scissors right here? I mean, these things have no edge to them whatsoever. Holy shit. Use something sharper than what I have, folks, and get you a little piece of tape. Next, we are going to take our tape and we're just going to wrap it around the pencil. Tape is just there to hold the thread. That's really all it is. The thread is what's holding the needle. The tape is what's holding the thread. So now what we have the beginning of our tattoo plucking device here. So we've done this much so far. The next thing we have to do, we have to sharpen our staple. Here's where mom's emery board comes into play. And by the way, folks, if you are using your mom's or your sister's emery board for this video, I have to put a little disclaimer on this. Don't let them find out that you're using their emery board to make a tattooing device. It's just not going to be a good look. We got the emery board or your fine sandpaper, and we've got our plucking device. What we're going to do, we're going to hold our staple across our piece of sandpaper or emery board, and we're just going to begin to run it back and forth, nice and easy. Again, If you have a softer metal, like a staple that's out of a stapler or an aluminum staple, this method is going to be a lot easier than if you have some sort of like a steel staple, or I don't know what other kind of metals they use to make staples, but a harder metal, it's just going to be a lot harder. Now I'm taking my finger and I'm putting it a lot more like on top of the staple, above the pencil. It's going to give me a lot more stability as I'm running this staple across this emery board. So as you're running this staple back and forth across this emery board, you need to start rotating the whole device in your hand. And what that's going to do is that's going to help you to get a rounded point on the tip of your needle. You do not want a flat, sharp point on your needle. Matter of fact, if your needle has any sort of a flat surface on it, it's just not going to work for tattooing. And the reason being, it's not going to lay the ink underneath the skin. It's actually going to cut the skin. So that's why it's so important to avoid any sort of a flat surface on your needle. And you're really going to have to check this needle as you're doing this. Okay, so I've sharpened this quite a bit. Now I'm really paying attention to the tip of this needle. I'm looking at it, I'm spinning it around, and I'm looking for flat surfaces. Folks, do not rush through this process. This is a very important process, as is any other process when it comes to creating what you need to tattoo with. Whether it's ink, whether it's the needle, whether it's anything. You really need to take your time, because taking your time and doing these steps and methods and procedures correctly is going to entail that you create, or that you have a better chance of creating, good quality tattoo work. This staple is now sharp enough and rounded and now ready for the next step in creating this plucking device. This next step that we must do, we have got to clean this staple, this needle. We have got to clean this. And the way that we're going to do that is simple. We're going to take a lighter, we're going to light it, and we're going to put our needle right over top of that lighter. And we're just going to burn it for a couple of seconds and be done with it. Once we've burned it, we have pretty much sanitized this needle. The next thing we need to do, because it's now black on the end of it, try to put that needle in focus, it's not really working. But anyways, it's all black on the end. What we're gonna do is take a piece of tissue paper. I've actually got the whole roll, and we're just gonna fold it up a little bit, and we're gonna take some alcohol. I'm gonna put that alcohol right there on that tissue paper, and we are going to clean the tip of this needle. Try to get it as clean as possible. The next step is to go back to our thread, wherever the hell my thread ran off to. I believe my cat has taken my thread underneath the couch, and all I'm finding is just an end of it, but it's good. So I've got my thread. I'm gonna start down here at the bottom where we've already taped. I'm gonna start this process all over again, except this time I'm just trying to secure that thread to the bottom, not really paying any mind to how that is, and starting to work my way up the needle. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm trying to lay a good amount of thread toward the bottom of the staple. So, I'll be going back and forth just a little bit. You don't want a whole heck of a lot up there. But as you get toward the top, you really don't want that much thread. So it's probably only going to be about one layer of thread going up the needle. Now, how far up the needle should we put this thread? I know that's a big question a lot of you have, and I'm about to show you right now. You do not, and I repeat, you do not want a lot of needle hanging out the end of this thread. This thread is almost like the training wheels, letting you only go so deep inside of your skin. And how much needle do you really want hanging off the end of this thing? You barely want any needle hanging out the end of this. All you want to be able to do is to get deep enough underneath the skin to puncture the skin. You're going up underneath like the first layer of skin. That's it. The less needle, the better. Just enough to get up underneath the skin. Once we've done that, we're going to go back down. We're going to secure our thread at the bottom. We're going to pop that, wrap that around again with our finger like so. And then we're going to take our tape again. I don't even know why I'm even attempting to use these scissors. Oh my God. How can you even sell a pair of scissors like this? These scissors right here belong in like a kindergarten. Where the hell did we even get these scissors? Our tape, and we are going to tape our thread to our pencil one last time. And we're going to go up. We're not going anywhere up the staple that is exposed without the pencil. We're just going up to where the staple leaves the pencil. And we're going to secure that like so. And that there, folks, is your pick and poke / pluck tattoo device. This is what I used to tattoo myself in my last tattoo video. Easiest way ever to create tattooing. And for all of you who have stuck around this long watching this video, I'm sure you're curious to know how the tattoo that I did in that video turned out. And again, that tattoo was done using a device just like this one. I hope this video helps you, and if so, please leave a like and a comment. Let me know what you think, what you want to see next. We have a ton of awesome content coming here on After Prison Show. I could possibly be doing gaming videos showing you what it's like for an individual after prison, catching up on all the latest video games. I barely know how to use my PlayStation 4, folks. I don't. I'm like the worst gamer ever. Can you imagine the commentary for that? Kind of entertaining. Also, going to be doing a lot more vlogs. I have a hell of a lot of new equipment for these videos. They're going to make these videos even better coming within the next week. Stay tuned for that. Thanks again for taking the time to check out this video. As always, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day.